Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, on this wonderful Saturday we have upon us. It's the NJCAA League of Legends tournament time. I'm Beautiful Crow, and joining me on the desk today is a new face. It's Owl in a hoodie. Say what's up, man.
How you guys doing? Great day today to be watching some good old League of Legends. Should be a really fun series.
Absolutely. It's going to be a little bit of a banger. Just one best of five today. Just one best of five today. It's the St. Clair Saints versus the Nova Nighthawks, I believe. Yes, that's correct. Names on that. But yeah, you know how to get at us. All social medias, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, there's Discord. There's so many ways to follow us. I think there's a Facebook channel as well as Twitch too. Like, it's just everything if you want to keep up with all the NJCAA action. But yeah, we're here to cover some League of Legends, and honestly, I'm excited to get into it. What little insight do we have about the two teams playing the game? I know you said you did a little bit of research, so
I did do a little bit of research on this today. So two really strong teams coming into this, obviously. Of course, they wouldn't have made it to finals, of course. So it's going to be a really banger series. But what I'm most interested in is going to be a couple very specific matchups just by actually interacting with these players previously in certain solo games and casting other tournaments that they've been in. I'm looking very heavily at the mid lane matchup for some really big carry plays. I'm looking very heavily at the ADC matchup. As well as just how jungle prio is going to be functioning on both these teams today. Given the meta that's happening right now, it's going to be really interesting to see what junglers get on the map quicker, try to secure those objectives, try to get the prio in the bot lane, and see who can just take over the game and stop it.
Oh yeah, jungle is I think Blabber said it best on the LCS desk. Like, yeah, jungle just is the only thing that matters right now, you know? Everything else? Oh yeah, bot lane's losing? Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, top lane losing? Doesn't matter. Mid lane? Doesn't matter. Jungle's winning? You're winning ahead. So definitely excited to get into this matchup and seeing that. All the marbles on the board. Picks to watch, though, for this series, because, yes, we talked about the jungle and a lot of things that are happening. A lot of carry jungles, you know, happening, coming out. Like, who's facilitating what? Like, who's playing what?
Well, I think big things to look out for, especially on this patch, is obviously still going to be those big prio junglers. Tank junglers are going to be very big. If we're assuming, I'm pretty sure this is being played on 13.7, which came out on Wednesday, yes. Then things like AD Vi is going to be very high priority right now. The tank builds are probably going to go into a little bit of regression here. Graves just got a really nice buff to his crit damage as well as his ultimate, so a very high prio pick generally in high levels of play, going to be even more powerful. I would assume to see it picked or banned a couple times in the series. Honestly, it really is, like, I'd want to talk about other rules. Of course, like, we had the Zeri nerfs come through. We see a lot of Nova Hawks playing those really high prio bot lanes, so on and so forth. And so, I would like to talk about other matchups, but really, it's going to be down to this jungle matchup. Truly. Just because
for sure.
Keep having to talk about it, unfortunately, but the state of the meta is not changing, and that is just kind of the role that we need to watch.
For sure, and I mean, we can touch on those other parts of the map because they can be impressive and influential across the entire series. I kind of want to look at, we did touch on a tiny bit the bot lane, like Zeri got those nerfs, sure. Kai'Sa's still very relevant. Galio's still very relevant. People will be defaulting to the other hyper carries, right? Jinx, if you have a good Jinx in collegiate, you're kind of like a monster. Yeah. That's just a default. Like every AD carry in this league, in this ecosystem, always has a good default Jinx to play off of, and that's just something you want to watch out for as well. Support-wise,
there's a lot of variety right now.
Kind of fall by the wayside. We do see a lot more initiators popping in. A lot of good Threshes and Nautilus coming out. Even though support Annie, I hate her so much. Even though that was my little day one champion. She's just
so
obnoxious right now with the changes.
Well, as a support main myself, I completely resonate with that. But thank the Lord, on Wednesday, she did end up getting hit pretty heavily. The nerf was definitely more focused towards the mid lane, but she is still like slowly falling in that support role in terms of win rate, and I'm praying it falls even further, but I would not be shocked if we see an Annie to be picked in some sort of like safe lane with some scaling ADC. Would not be shocked at all. But another thing that I want to look at as well for this bot lane is you mentioned Aphelios still being really strong. And most of the time that's being picked with Thresh. I am really interested to see how that's going to play out as well with, you know, the changes that Thresh has been seeing, as well as pro teams are finding counter picks now towards Aphelios Thresh in lane and trying to abuse the fact that the hook is on a very long cooldown early game. So really, it's going to be very interesting to see how both teams kind of play around different levels of prio, as well as just how they end up drafting in terms of the bot lane and the mid lane, just to see if we can secure those early dragons, see if we can secure and rotate for that early herald. The meta right now is very snowball heavy, and so I feel like whoever is going to pick those early game drafts, be able to execute them well, and find those early objectives, it's going to be really, really hard to beat that right now.
For sure, and like you had touched on, some of the changes that hit in this last patch were very impactful immediately to the state of the game. So it does make up a lot, right? We've talked about how influential junglers are going to be and how crazy bot lane is going to be. We got to fill in the rest of those pieces as we are switching over to draft now, getting into it. Oh wow, little few surprises there. There's one bugger I didn't get to talk about because I didn't know if anyone was actually going to play him or not. It's the Milio pick here.
We do see a Milio Jinx. So Milio is a really interesting champion right now in the sense that he is an enchanter, but he is an enchanter that's focused on disengage, which is something that the St. Clair Saints has quite a bit on their team. So this actually does look like a very rare, very strong Milio game with a scaling lane.
I mean, it's actually incredible. Like this, like just
I love both of these drafts.
Yeah, just looking at both of them, you can tell clear night and day what they're trying to get across to do, right? And like St. Clair with the tried and true Aphelios Thresh combination. Ooh, yeah, that feels like this is the last patch composition on the side of the Saints, but then like the Nighthawks have a very current patch composition, you know?
Right, and the first thing that kind of stands out to me on both of these drafts is clearly the Nova Nighthawks are looking towards a more scaling style of play. They're looking for the Jinx Milio that can poke early game, but ultimately if you get ganked by Jarvan, you're in a really tough spot. They're opting in for the Victor, a hard scaling mid laner into the Orianna matchup, which is fairly even for most parts of the game. And then of course we have the Gwen. And the interesting thing here that we also didn't get to touch on is that Wukong. Those nerfs are hitting pretty hard, and his ability to get onto the map and be useful is greatly depleted. His first clear is almost gone by 2 seconds after the nerfs. And so I think it's going to be really interesting. Like I was saying, whichever team is going to be able to get going faster and find those leads, as long as they can keep those leads and not find any terrible engages or getting picked off, then this looks like a very tough composition to play for the St. Clair Saints.
For sure, like the stickiness, right? Because that's everything that Wukong was known for, and why he's been so strong for such a generous amount of time is his ability to just jump in and stick onto people, get in that back line, double R, and get out. I'm a little bit unsure, but like if this Nighthawks lineup stays even at least in the first 15 minutes, oh, they're gonna have a great time.
Oh, they're going to have a fantastic time. We're going to see some seriously explosive team fights that I would expect happen on the second, third Dragon as well as the Baron fights, and even maybe a second Rift Herald fight being really explosive. If this Jinx is able to find a couple kills early game, it's really all going to be onto the Thresh and the Jarvan and the Ornn to get on top of them and murder them. But even if that happens, you still have a late game Wukong to kind of contend with and try to peel off of. And so the Nova Nighthawks have a really, really, really solid draft in the sense of playing safe, easy, consistent, and then if they can find their way into that scaling game, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how these team fights end up playing out. But of course, on the side of the St. Clair Saints, if they don't have that early game prio and potential and strength to find those early objectives, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to play the game.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. All points touched upon. So I'm going to throw it to a quick break because we're going to get this synced up nice and ready for you guys, get it in game, as we do have a great banger series on the horizon. So do not touch that dial. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we're going to be right into this game. So see you in a second. Welcome back, everybody. After some technical difficulties, we are into this game number one. Unfortunately, it will boost us up to the 8-minute mark, so we have missed a little bit of action, but as you can still see, 0-0, no one's committed to a kill just yet. As we are warming up here.
Nothing major has happened, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully nothing major has happened.
All right, well, jumping right into this game, we talked about the matchups a little bit, how we expected everything to go, and for the most part, that is exactly how things have gone. Nothing interesting has really happened. We see that the Nova Nighthawks are playing just for scaling, and as expected, Jarvan has gotten a Dragon, gotten the Rift Herald, has that Prio, so now it just comes down to, can he make a lead out of this? And if he can, then, hey, the game looks pretty nice. But right now, we have the Ornn pushing in topside, trying to look for some poke on that Gwen, knowing that the Jarvan is probably going to be botside. And here comes the Wukong in for the gank.
Oh, man, yeah, just jumping right in. He has hit 6 at this point. Finally, at the 9-minute, 30-second mark, first blood will be drawn. And they're going to make it a double kill for the Aphelios. The way of Rock Boom.
Jinx versus the ult gets the kill
in the end. Get a good job from Osu only to get response onto that, but unfortunately will end up with Rock Boom getting himself a triple kill at the end of the day.
This is now a terrifying position. So the Herald's going to be spawning here on the bot turret. It's probably just gone here, so this Aphelios is going to come back with Mythic and Boots, and probably a little bit more to play with, meaning that they're going to swap mid lane, and they're going to look for something really, really big and try to break open this map. This is exactly what we were trying to see out of this comp from the Saints. Early aggression, early lane, try to shut them out. So they've done the first part and just getting that Aphelios the lead. Now it's time to just try to get the lead furthered and close it out. And of course, the Wukong coming back in, trying to go for the counter gank again.
Absolutely, and yeah, they're just going to watch Winch repeat. They think because his flash is down, they can get him easily. They will manage to get the kill onto him. Just completely dumpstering down. But now they can't get out. There's no escape. It's all in or all die, and just like a triple kill going the way for Rock Boom, this time it's a double kill going the way of Akashi now on the Orianna. And just like that, it's a 6-2 differential in the kill score. Ever increasing gold lead, sitting 21 to 16.5.
Massive differential now. And honestly, I just want to point out and give props to Akashi there, knowing that he has to sack that mid wave to come bot lane to try to pick up those kills and just get this Jinx put further into the ground. And so now we just see top lanes just doing what top lane does best in these kind of matchups. They're just going to farm and try to wait for that Gwen to scale. But at this point, are they going to have enough time? I'm not entirely sure. Next objective coming up is going to be the Dragon, and we're going to see a fight on that surely, but the Aphelios did swap topside to just try to clear that wave. So now it's kind of on to the Nighthawks to shove out the rest of the waves and see if they can try to get Prio for this Dragon and look for a good fight. We see the Ornn already down there.
Right.
And the ult coming in from the Jarvan, trying to pick the Jinx.
Maddie jumping
Amelia ult comes out too late.
Jumping in immediately, going to go ahead and burn that ultimate. They knew there was no escape for Osu only to get on that. That's the bot lane deciding to rotate up to mid lane to try and. Well, it looks like there's lane swaps all across the board here. As you're looking across the map, you have Rock Boom up in the top lane trying to take down that tower and, can get it down. He is rather fed now, sitting at 3-1-2. Has his mythic completed, has some extra damage as well, so it's going to go ahead and play tower duty. But yeah, you just look at the rotations all across the map. Is they will take that tower in the top lane, but opting to give up this Infernal Drake here, going to go ahead and go the way of the red side. Osu only, sticking in mid to try and stave off, get some wave clear down.
So we're giving up this Infernal Dragon, but is it worth it? Because, of course, Rock Boom just went top lane and got all of the plates off of it because, Ornn is not going to pressure the plates against the Gwen. May as well give it to the Aphelios at this point. And finding the pick mid lane, it kind of feels a little bad for the Nighthawks, just trying to pick up whatever they can at this point to stay in it. But it's not looking great.
Yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be shored up on. So now you do see the massive rotation, taking two towers, one in the top, one in the bot lane. Now they're trying to knock down this mid tier 2 a very strong siege. You look how fed Rockboom is, and Book has done a really good job blending. We talked about, oh yeah, Thresh nerfs. They got to be really accurate with their hooks, or else it's just like wasting it. He seems to be doing a really good job right now.
He's doing a really good job, and even more than that, just finding the exact times that he needs to be flaying immediately on multiple targets. And with the Glacial, that's going to be basically a hook. That lockdown is going to be lethal against a Wombo combo comp like they have on the Saints side. Of course, Ornn coming in and clearing out a little bit of vision, and we see this mid turret probably going to fall. There's a potential ult on the Ornn here. And they decide they're just going to zone it, take that turret. This does not feel good for the Jinx. And we see the Jarvan just kind of scouting to see if they can find anything. Gonna spot the Wukong. Ends up going in with the Orianna to back up. We're going to see a big team fight here with the Ornn.
There's the
big Oriole.
Good job on that initiation. Ricky timing that Call of the Forge God extremely well to layer all forms of CC. Literally every character on their roster has a hard form of CC that they can use, and they're using it to the highest effectively. It's just absolutely smashing right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 3-0 and another Rift Herald going the way of the Saints in a massive gold deficit, coming up to 10,000 gold at 14 and a half minutes. This is now really, really scary to try to face. It has been from the beginning of those first bloods in bot lane. And now it's just down to the Nighthawks trying to preserve all the waves they can and just trying and praying for that late game Jinx, that late game Gwen, the late game Victor, and that Wukong flank. They just need to try to find a moment where the Saints are off guard on an objective, or Jarvan is on vision and doesn't know it, and look for a pick and just try to snowball it with those items. But as long as Boschetti is doing such a good job as he's been doing right now, trying to secure vision in the jungle, it's going to be really hard for them to find those picks.
For sure. Now you do see them trying to get up a little bit of vision into the blue side jungle, but it's just so difficult for them to actively push up, like you said, with how far this lead is growing, and Maddie just leading the charge on this Jarvan. You look at the stat line and the score line, the gold leads. Oh man, it's a best of five. Like you really want to get all the momentum going starting in this first game, and it took them 8 minutes to warm up, about 9 minutes to warm up, but once they started, they've completely snowballed, and that's exactly what we wanted to see from this composition, right? We wanted to see them snowball and push forward, and that's exactly what we're getting. Is they literally have the enemy team huddled under their tower, trying to figure out what they're going to do.
And here comes trying to hook the Gwen, goes immune, because of course Gwen is immune. Yep, so I'm assuming they're just going to end up placing the Rift Herald here on the spot turret. Victor's farming top because he knows he can't fight with the items that he has. He ended up going Leandri's this game, so that burst potential isn't quite there yet until he gets that Lichbane Void Staff angle. And honestly, even then, he might still need another item or two before he's able to one-shot somebody like this Aphelios. And the Aphelios even itemizing incredibly aggressively, going Gale Force Infinity Edge, just looking to see if he can find picks as fast as possible. Lethal execution is what they're looking for to close it out.
Yeah, and you do see a good
nice hook going in,
trying
to go for the fight, ends up taking it. Yay!
That's the boss.
Massive team fight once again.
Yeah, that could be either. That could lead to some devastating results.
Boschetti is really just a complete sniper right now with these thresh hooks. Yeah. Very little vision to work off of. Ends up predicting the movement on the Wukong. And by the time he goes in, that Gravitum ulti's coming out, and it is too late for the Nighthawks to do anything.
Okay, yeah, that's rough to deal with. Like
This is a rough game.
That's a little rough. That's a little oof. You think you're safe into your base, into that area, and just immediately get sniped out. Look at on this Thresh is playing immaculately right now.
It's absolutely beautiful at the moment. Emilio coming in, trying to clear just the tiniest bit of vision. And we see them trying to rotate towards this dragon, and it's becoming very, very difficult for them to really do anything about this. They're just going to opt in to clear those waves, try to push up and maybe get a ward or two in the blue side jungle. But how useful is that really going to be when St. Clair Saints are stacking up their second dragon of the game? almost or more than 10,000 gold ahead, reaching up on 11,000 here soon, most likely. And it's just, they're trying to just play bunker at the moment.
That's definitely a defense turtle. Try and look for, some sort of counter punch. And one thing I wanted to talk about on the Nighthawk side is just that bot lane combination of playing the Milio and the Jinx. It really relies on your AD carry to be pristine and top tier in so many different ways, because Milio only has one damaging ability. All of his other abilities are going to be there for shielding or healing or a status effect disablement, right? So like, he's the textbook enchanter type. And the thing is, with this composition that the Nighthawks have, they're just unable to disengage and like peel back correctly because there's so much upfront CC ability coming on the side of the Saints. Like, we talked about Maddie's ability to go in. We talk about Ricky being able to throw down those Call to Forge Gods, those Ornn engages perfectly on time, but most of it is coming off of the back on Buxetti on that Thresh. Just absolutely insane with the engages and leading them so far to this 12-2 deficit that they have.
And even just the Thresh's itemization, you can tell exactly what they're looking to do to close out this game. He did not go tank. They realized they have enough of that already. He went the Shurelias. He is trying to get his team into the fight as fast as humanly possible to wipe before anything catastrophic happens. And even like you said, touching on that Milio, it is a strong pick. People are learning it. People are finding good combos. And he is very strong as a disengaged tool. The problem becomes his ultimate does not cleanse knockups. And if you look at what CC the enemy team has on the side of the Saints, it is a lot of knockups in the Orianna ult, the Thresh E, the Ornn ultimate, and the Ornn E. He can't cleanse that. The only thing he can do is just try to place the W down for Jinx, place the Q onto the Jarvan during the engage, and pray that his team doesn't get completely one-shot.
Yeah, they kind of maybe overestimated on the Milio pick. I forget to see what round they picked it in draft-wise. Definitely over-anticipating how his abilities work. Like we did say, newer champion, still trying to get the learning curve underway. Just something to look out for next time. But yeah, as it just seems to be completely, I don't want to say useless, but just a non-factor in this game here. Is we're already seeing the Saints going to go ahead and just devour Baron Nashor with no problem at all. There is an angle for the steal if Kito can get in, but no, he's being zoned off by Ricky, and that's going to be a Baron going over and also going for the fight as well. They're looking, they want to go ahead and end this on one fell swoop. Going to get the Baron and get two for their troubles.
Absolutely nasty right there. The amazing zoning off on the Ornn and the Jarvan, just trying to keep that Wukong from engaging. And of course, they've wasted the Jinx ult. They wasted everything that they could have used to steal it other than the Wukong getting into the pit. And so the second they stall that Baron, they know they have to make something happen. And of course, the perfect engage comes in with the Ornn and the Jarvan. And it's another clean sweep of a team fight going the side of the Saints. Trying to stop the recalls here, trying to just make sure that they can try to grab these Baron waves, but really the pressure is about to get really, really immense with such little wave clear and the lack of items just showing on the side of the Nova Nighthawks. 15,000 gold deficit just about coming into 22 minutes. That is really severe at this point in the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's 21 minutes in, so looking to try and be a quick game for sure. You don't, but I do like the patience on the side of the Saints, not opting in to try and push even more, trying into overpush, even though they are considerably ahead in the items. All it takes is one good team fight for a Jinx to get back into the game. It's boss, why you gotta do him like that?
I cannot believe the Wukong has W to get out here.
He can't get out. There's no living for him there. Just too much CC to stop him from going anywhere at all. And this is looking like they want to try and do the victory march here. They're going to go ahead and go for this bot lane tower. And Maddie's jumping ahead, forcing a flash out of Fern immediately. They have the man advantage. There's a 4v5. They have the item advantage, the gold lead, the Baron buff, all of it. They have a nice wave on bot side and one coming in through mid as well. They might look for the end here. Kito is up in 5 seconds, but I don't think there's going to make any difference as Fern gets tagged and popped immediately.
Oh, no.
Moonlight Vigil from Rock Boom is immaculate, and so are the hooks coming out from Bosk as they are looking to finish it up.
Oh, my God.
Give up even more, so much damage up front and all throughout all the sides. Game number 1 looking to go the way of St. Clair Saints in a very, very easy fashion.
And even just that final moments of the game, the aggression still comes through with the Aphelios gale forcing immediately into 2 targets right in front of their face, right in front of the fountain. That was textbook how we wanted to see that game played. Exactly once we saw the draft, we knew what both teams were trying to do, and we knew what the Saints needed to do in order to make that game a win. If they didn't find those early leads in the bot lane on those ganks and the counter gank on the Jarvan, that game might have gone a very, very different route. But really, it just came down to Jarvan got onto the map first, was able to find a really good counter gank against the Wukong, and then even came bot 2 more times to counter gank again and again to snowball that Aphelios lead. And the game, frankly, just kind of became unplayable for the Nova Nighthawks.
Yeah, definitely not an easy game here for the Nighthawks. Had a hard time dealing with the upfront aggression from Maddie. I know Rock Boom and Boss in the bot lane were just having a field day, essentially, just how able they were. It's so crazy that it stayed so stable for that first 8 minutes that we missed. No one dying, nothing happening, just one dragon taking. Somehow, everything was calm, but as soon as that crested over, all the gloves came off.
Like
it was just bare knuckle brawling from there. With that being said, we do have more of the series to come. We're going to throw it to a break and get everything all nice and tidied and clean up and reset for game number 2 coming soon. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. After that riveting game number 1 between the Saints and the Nighthawks, we're about to get back into game number 2 here. Now, Owl. Some things to touch on in that game number 1. Now, we did see from when we dropped in the absolute pure unbridled aggression that the Saints were showing, right? Like all across the map. Maddie's engages, Ricky's engages, Akashi, Rock Boom, Bosk. Literally, the composition that they had was made for that. And they definitely did let it go to waste.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we said they were drafting for, and they pulled that off flawlessly. And obviously, it's just come down to that one little mistake with those kinds of comps. All it happened is that the Nova Nighthawks probably didn't track the Jarvan well enough and didn't realize that he was bot lane for that Wukong counter gank. And if you look at that 3v3, there is absolutely no chance that the Nova Nighthawks are ever going to win that bot lane fight. And it just takes that one mistake, that one play, for that team comp on blue side to just start snowballing as fast as possible. And they did not let off the gas pedal at any moment during that game. Constant hooks, constant Jarvan ults, really, really good Ornn ult rotations. That was a very, very cut, clean, dry, textbook, high-level League of Legends game out of the St. Clair Saints in game 1.
Yeah, textbook, execution across the board. Let's get into draft for this game number 2. If we can peek at what we have going on here as we are gearing up to see what changes have been made, what adaptations are here and off the bat. Hold up.
Wow.
Hold everything.
Lots to talk about here.
Oh, man. Where do we start? Let's go for it.
Let's just start with side selection, because we came into this knowing that the Nova Nighthawks did opt into going red side once again for game 2, which immediately tells everybody that's watching this, well, they must be looking for a counter pick, or they must be looking for something spicy to try to round out a team comp well. And yet, what we see from the St. Clair Saints is, again, very, very, very strong team fight comp. And what we see from the Nova Nighthawks is definitely more lane prio and a little bit more chances for early aggression. But there's just some things here that I just flat out don't agree with. So obviously, we see the Jarvan ban coming out from St. Clair Saints. They're trying to deny that. And we see the Thresh ban coming out from the Nighthawks trying to deny that as well. Taking out poke champions from the Nighthawks side and just trying clearly to go for some kind of draft that is more scaling oriented again. And yet, the St. Clair Saints locked down a first 3 of Rakan, Zeri, Maokai. I love that 3. I love that. Because by B1ing the Rakan, you are absolutely forcing the Nighthawks to take a Xayah, and then you get the Zeri pick out of it, as well as you get a jungler that is going to be able to lock onto that Xayah even with ultimate. Maokai has multiple engage chances onto a Xayah. And then the top and mid lane for the Saints as well, just unbridled aggression incoming is all I can really think to say. We see the Olaf pick coming out against the Jax. That has to get ahead early or else it becomes really difficult to play. And we see the Aurelia into the Victor. That's an interesting matchup in the sense that Aurelia is very hard to gank. However, Victor does actually stand a chance. One of the few mages that stands a chance into Aurelia if he can get his W's down effectively. So that's what I'm looking at in the mid lane. If this Victor can try to shut down this Aurelia early, this game becomes very playable for the Nighthawks. But like game 1, if the Saints are able to find aggressive plays on the map with the Maokai and get that Zeri scaling, it's really, really hard to shut them down.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely going to watch out for the Power Pikachu. Now, this is going to be game number 2 here, where Fern in the mid lane is going to be piloting the Victor. He did not have the best showing on it in game number 1, hoping to make, hoping to make better off on this game than on the first one. But I definitely do think the Nighthawks composition has a better job of contending with what they can be up against the Saints. It's just a matter of execution once it's all said and done, right? So definitely looking to see how the Nighthawks rise to the challenge up against the Saints, or are the Saints going to come marching in and put this up in a 2-0 at the moment, or this best of 5? We're going to find out, though, as we are going to step in the game here in a moment. Production, you know what to do. Switch the screens. Let's get it going. Alrighty, everybody. Here we are in the game number 2 between the St. Clair Saints and the Nova Nighthawks. We are getting it in. Let's see if we can make this a 1-1 series, or are the Saints going to go up 2-0 over their opponents. I'm Beautiful Crow. I've got Owl in a hoodie with me, and our bird brains are going to do as much as we can to dissect this competition.
Right, and off the bat, we immediately see aggressive plays from both sides of the map. We see the early invade top side from blue side, and we also see that 5-man stack into the top lane with the Nautilus, just trying to see if the Olaf dares try to find a ward in that middle brush, and if he does, there's no getting out of that. So here they come in sweeping, spotting these wards, knowing that they know now that Sejuani is going to be starting topside, which gives bot lane a chance to let the wave crash, let it push back into them to try to avoid that early Sejuani gank. But on the opposite side of the map, that means that if Sejuani does not 3-camp this Olaf is free to reign all over this Jax. And I feel like that is the matchup that we need to be watching this game. The bot side should be pretty farm heavy, pretty cut and dry, locked ability matchup, nothing really happening there. But if that Olaf gets ahead, it is going to be a bit of a massacre coming into this game.
Yeah, for sure going to be watching heavily on that. Oh man, I really want to see how Rock Boom is going to do on this Zeri, because we know this man loves to be absolutely aggressive in every sense of the form. So going to be looking high on this one. And Osu was on the Jinx last game, did not have a good showing, was not able to get off the ground, and unfortunately was set back mighty hard. Let's see if they can get things going in, or is the Power Pikachu going to take over? Because you know, one of those is pretty likely.
And that is exactly what Zeri does. And Rakan looking for the early level 2 trade, and Nautilus misses the hook here. So a very, very good trade and wave prio for bot lane. That bodes very well for them in this matchup, knowing that if this Zeri doesn't end up dying early, they are going to scale. It's one of those guaranteed scaling champions. If you don't do anything about them, they will one-shot you after 4 or 5 items. And as we see, junglers are pathing parallel. That is obviously something to note here. So counter ganks definitely bound to happen here. Just happens to be who comes in with the gank first.
Okay. Let's see how this is. And this mid lane, we touched on it a little bit, right? We did touch on how Fern versus Akashi on the Aurelia, it should, quote-unquote, go Fern's way. You know, bit more defensive movement
Theoretically.
they can deal with. But yeah, in theory, he plays the gravity well on himself, which he will have to do a lot in this matchup just to contend with the Blade Dancer herself.
Right, and that trade mid lane that we just saw is pretty textbook for this laning matchup. If Victor has W ready, he is able to walk up and kind of take some minions, take a trade, get some prio there. And if he doesn't, that Aurelia is just going to wipe the floor with them. But it happens that after 6, it shifts a little bit towards the Victor's favor. We see a Nautilus hook coming out in the bot lane.
Oh yeah, there's the hook on.
Nothing really comes of that.
Just a little trade, just a little Trazy saying hello, good smackaroo. Yeah, we know from the first game they love to play this early game a little bit more conserved, a little bit more reserved and guarded before they actually just go at each other's throats. But hold that thought, because here comes Maddie on these jungle Maokai with an advance, gonna go ahead and Bramble Smash as well. Can he escape? He cannot escape the sapling or the axe. Ricky.
And this is exactly...
First blood.
Yeah, I mean, good lord, this is exactly what we were talking about. If this Olaf is able to find a lead onto this Jax, it becomes a very difficult matchup to play. Small trade coming out bot lane with the Sejuani gank. Nothing really comes of it, though. Zeri does what she does best. She wall rides herself to victory.
And we see that bot pressure starting to mount a little bit towards this Zeri with the lack of wave clear in the side of St. Clair Saints in the bot lane. Trying to poke and prod at the Sejuani, get the back to stop, and they do that successfully. But now they're looking at an imminent dive with the Rakan not being able to do much against this.
There's the auto. Oh, everything's connecting like they want it to. Maybe not as much, though, as they will trade support for support as Bosk will fall, and Attack Dog will fall as well. Rock Boom and Bosk traded, and here comes Akashi off of the good teleport. Make it a 2-for-1. Why not?
I mean, this is exactly what we saw out of Akashi last game, albeit 3 minutes earlier. He gets the good roam bot lane, and hold that thought, because we have another engage happening top lane.
Average, no! He's gonna go down. Bash Bros coming in clutch once again, and yeah, we talked about it. If this Olaf gets ahead, it's basically GG at 15, right? As we see Maddie coming up twice to make sure his top laner gets ahead.
I mean, in theory, in this matchup, the top lane becomes very, very difficult to play the second this Olaf gets ahead. And the... Oh my lord! And the hook dodge coming out of the Zeri on Rockboom. Good lord, have mercy. A free wave shove in there for the Zeri. A little bit of gold in their pocket. And the Victor really just has to clear this wave and wait for the Aurelia to come back, but with much better items than he has currently.
For sure, as... now they're starting to scrap along. Dragon number 1 has not been taken yet, but you do see the posturing by the side of the Nighthawks, looking to maybe make something happen here. But the advancement of, like, the acceleration of items coming the way of the Saints, it's just not looking like they can contest for all of these objectives. Bosk, he's gonna, face check a bush 1 or 2 times. It's whatever.
Just a little slap on the wrist there from the Nautilus saying, hey, my bush, get out of here. No wards being placed, though. But big thing to be seen here is Boschetti again with that vision control on the bot river ahead of this dragon. Which just means Maokai's probably just going to end up clearing these raptors, clearing these Krugs, and walking towards that rift, or walking towards that dragon and the scuttle. Sejuani not showing on a ward topside. However, they can probably assume they're there, seeing that there's nothing cleared on her bot side camps. Or sorry, everything is cleared on her bot side camps off those bot lane wards. And we see posturing possibly for a gank from the Maokai, but ultimately he's just going to end up going for the scuttle here off this mid prio and looking for this early dragon.
And I really want to see them go for... I want to see the Nighthawks go for more aggressive play, so to speak, right? I want to see them try to press the envelope when they feel like they're behind. I do feel like Hemorrhage and Kiko have, that 2v2. The Jax Sejuani, that's a pretty good 2v2 fight, as we do see the gank coming in. Oh, they're sending 4. Oh, wow, they're sending the whole squad as Maddie and Akashi both roll down to make this dive happen. They say, anything you can do, we can do better. We can do it cleaner than you. It will be a 1-for-2 trade at the end of the day. But once again, the Saints coming up large.
And again, that mid laner, Akashi, coming in with the roams. Just sacking these waves to the Victor, knowing that 2 kills is worth more on him than Victor getting possibly a cannon wave and a plate there. Really, really strong roams coming out and getting this bot lane ahead once again. Although the gold is not really heavily going out to this area. Of course, they're getting plates, they have a kill on some assists, but really the gold is heading on to this Aurelia at the moment. And they seem to be the one that's going to be trying to carry them through the mid game.
For sure. Okay. Let's see what the answer is in response. Looks like a play on mid lane, try to make happen, but no. Kashi will get out of there. And once again, another player comes into the top lane. This time it's Boss to help out Ricky, and just barely does he survive through Hemorrhage. Not able to get anything going up in this top lane, and it just feels so bad, man. 0-3-0 now on the Jax. Praying for a miracle at this point to have something go too.
Yeah, and just knowing that, seeing that, hey, our Olaf is really low and we see the Jax is pretty high HP. Probably going to look for a trade here. Why don't I just walk top lane here? Look for something that might happen. And of course, it's another right place, right time scenario from a player on the Saints. Looking for a really, really easy kill pickup on the Olaf once again. But of course, the trade comes in and Sejuani is able to secure the dragon for that. But now, we have a Jax effectively proxy farming top lane. Just trying to look for something, anything that he can do to try to get back into this game.
Absolutely. And it's looking mighty familiar to last game. Mighty familiar to last game. Here we are, 10-minute mark, 7-2. A lot of power. This time, however, the top side of the map is this mid Aurelia pick has worked out very, very well. Ambitious, but effective, I would say.
Extremely effective, and this is where they're gonna see some really, really strong mid-game fights from this Aurelia, where they can really try to push this lead. And yet again, we have people stacking onto the bot lane. Another roam from the Aurelia looking for the engage.
Oh god, Rock Boom is just so nasty. That's just so it's just too much damage for them to contend with. This bodies just keep dropping left, right, and center.
And a solo kill unseen in the top lane.
No!
Oh no!
Don't do it to the boy! Hemorrhage falling once again. Owl, at this point, man, like, we might have a quick old day today on our hands.
We might. We very well might. I mean, in my brain, I'm thinking deja vu, deja vu. It feels exactly like what we saw in Game 1, except it's happening so much faster. And with a comp that actually has better mid-game team fights on the back of that Olaf of the Aurelia being ahead. And now, finally, we're getting a lot of gold into the Zeri, and there's not a single person on the side of the Saints that is even remotely behind at this point. They can't really do much at all and are going to have to start conceding these objectives and these waves. And so, the question becomes, like last game, are they able to try and push those advantages further and further and further and block them out of those waves, block them out of those objectives, and try to close this game out quickly enough that the Jax, Sejuani, and the Victor don't scale into absolute oblivion. But normally, at this point, if we're being completely honest, once a Jax is 0-4, they're probably going to be behind for the rest of the game. Jax is so reliant on those big item spikes. And if he just can't hit him in time, then he's probably never going to.
Absolutely. It's just at this point, you know, how does he get back into this game? Now, admittedly, I will say really good job on the side of the Nighthawks to have gotten Herald here, get something back as they're, oh no, Osu has to burn the cleanse, burn the flash, yep, and there's the ultimate. This could be a turnaround though. Shutdown actually going to the pocket of Kikuri. They could get on him. That's all the damage. It's only the initiation left. Is Sejuani, the battle boar, will get a trophy once. Finally.
And finally, they trade something back. As you say, in the ultimate coming out from the Sej, but the missed hook mean it's just going to be a slight little aggressive poke and prod on the side of the Nova Nighthawks. I mean, they were able to get the Aurelia, but really, for what at this point? We even saw a solo kill coming out again from Rockboom, unseen in the bot lane on the Victor. There's really very little that they can do except waiting for the Saints to make those little engages like we just saw mid lane and try to pick something out of it.
Yeah, and this is so sad to see. 13 minutes in, Hemorrhage Still can't even complete a mythic yet. He's just been so down with how many people have been visiting his lane, putting him behind even more and more. And now he has more visitors. Oh, can he get him? Can they get him? Yes! Boss did not know he was on a ward. Will burn the ultimate. Himrich finally getting something. Gonna take our fellow Birdman
Finally
down,
getting some semblance of gold.
I'm Fern. I'm dead. As Akashi going up. One more kill on him. 3-1-3 on this mighty, mighty Aurelia.
And it really, now, we keep seeing people dying in that bot lane, side lane, but really, somebody has to clear that eventually, and nobody on the side of the Nova Nighthawks can 1v1 anybody on the side of the Saints. And so we're probably going to keep seeing this until they send multiple people bot lane in advance on this dragon coming up to spawn really quickly here. And this is going to be a pretty crucial team fight on this dragon. We see a lot of the ultimates are going to come up here in time for the dragon. So it's going to be a nice, nasty, and quick 5v5 is what I'm predicting. And if the Saints come away with this fight cleanly, it's going to be really, really hard for them to lose this game. It would take a massive throw for them to try to fall behind. And of course, we see Olaf in advance of this dragon, grabbing that top wave, grabbing the top lane turret. And the hook comes in.
Okay, here comes the engage. Good job by Boss to get in and start things off. Attack Dog is getting sent in the dog pound. Lakashi pulls off another kill as they're marching their way towards these objectives. Looking to get this dragon easily. And a mid lane tower as well.
And you can see the Nighthawks are getting really, really antsy here with Attack Dog, just trying to find some kind of hook, some kind of engage before this dragon comes out and wow Olaf is topside. But truthfully, you can't take that fight. There really is no good fight that you can take without the Saints messing up something horrifically. They really just need to be playing for like these 4-1, 3-1 kind of picks like we just saw on Bosk on the top lane. And with that dragon comes a mid shove, and with that mid shove comes another Herald. Slight little poke and prod and zoning onto the Sedge to try to not let them get this Rift Herald. Walking into the side though. Looks like they are going to look for a Nautilus hook here.
Yo! The Sejuani ultimate for Kikari is good. I'm Fern finally on the board, managing to take out Boss, but what can they continue with this on the backside? Here comes Akashi, doing so much damage. Ricky will combo it up as well. Hemorrhage though, he's allowed to stay alive for a few moments and will get a kill for his troubles, unfortunately. The rest of his team will fall. Oh wait! Oh my god! Kitsuri got the Herald and the entire Fracar. I didn't even see that, but look at the inventory now. Manages to steal the Herald and get the Eye and get out. A 4-for-1 at the end of the day. But the objective and some of the gold going the way of the Nighthawks. But the Saints, once again, just batter them in these very skewed team fights.
I mean, like we've been saying, it just feels like yet another consolation prize on the side of the Nighthawks. There's really not much that they are able to do. There they found a really good teamfight engage with the Sejuani ult into the Nautilus hook. But the problem with this comp when it falls behind is until they get those really strong items, after those ultimates are used, after those engage tools are used, they really don't have the damage to back it up after one-shotting one person. And is one-shotting the Rakan even worth it if the Aurelia is going to find a massive flank ultimate and just wipe the team fight out? I don't think so. So yet another small consolation prize coming to the Nighthawks, but yet another incredibly hard winning fight on the side of the Saints.
Absolutely agreed, and just... oh man, it feels like slowly but surely there are moments where you can see that the Nighthawks can get back into this 1v1. Conquerors stack, passive fully stacked, but Hemorrhage actually does damage now that he has Divine Sunder, but unfortunately, once again, the man cannot be left alone as the rest of the squad is there to get things done. Mid lane, however, will be cracked by the Nighthawks, so they have something that they can say they got back in the exchange.
Right, and that one actually does not feel like a consolation prize like they've been getting for this entire game so far. That is a gold positive trade. The Jax is not worth that much money, and that mid turret is worth a pretty good chunk of gold. And yet another engage coming in.
Oh, it's a two-pronged strike, but the rest of the DPS is not there to finish off the job here yet. Oh no, they zigged when they should have zagged, and that's going to be a double-double and an ace going the way of the Saints as they rout the Nighthawks trying anything they were attempting to go for.
And big props there to Bosk on the Rakan. just knowing that he's about to get engaged on, pops that ultimate and finds his way into the backline with that charm knockup onto most of the people on the Nighthawks. That just does not feel great in those kinds of fights. We said it once on the Herald fight, and we just saw it happen again. They don't have the damage to back up after those engages. And so if they survive that initial engage with all of their abilities up, then we know the Saints are just going to absolutely wipe the Nova Nighthawks off the face of the planet in every team fight for the foreseeable future and quite potentially for the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely agreed there. Just, oh man, it's these small little things you see where they can almost get something in there. They can almost have something happen on the side of the Nighthawks, but like, look how Giga Chad Ricky is just running up. The Jack Show Olaf, that's the tech right there. Just keep doing damage while you're taking damage. It's just, whoo, man. So much upfront damage. It's just insane.
Right. It's absolutely disgusting. And as long as he has that ultimate available, the flash coming out from the Sejuani, expecting the E from the Maokai, or the W from the Maokai. And now they know, hey, Sej has no flash. We could probably look for yet another engage, but it seems like Ricky is just going to be opting in for that bot wave, just crashing his lead more and more, and coming in for the 1v1 against the Victor as the engage is happening topside on the Aurelia.
Yeah,
that's just a goner.
Oh no, that's the wrong way! Kiko had a chance to make something happen and it re-engages. Yep, Osu only gonna die here. Rock boom, goes boom. Make sure everything goes their way, and just a one little pick turns into 3 quick kills. Baron about to spawn in a few seconds, Dragon about to spawn in a few seconds. It's taken a little bit longer this time, I would say, for the side of the Saints, but it's looking all the same as game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it looks exactly the same. It was what's happening, just at a slightly different time scale. We see the Baron coming in, and we see Ricky also get that bot turret, so they need to choose to respond to one of them, but they can't get to either of them in time. So the Baron backs come out, big buys coming out from the side of the Saints, and they're just going to be shoving and pushing onto this Dragon. Of course, the Nova Nighthawks are going to be looking and trying really hard to get this Dragon, try to get that zoning control. They know that they're not on it quite yet, and they have a chance to just maybe pick up this Dragon. And that now it looks like they're going to be trying to get some vision, trying to zone, see what they can make happen on this Dragon. But of course, the Saints are already here, baby, and they're ready to make this engage right on this Dragon. And it's still coming out from the Maokai. Maddie, right the flank as well.
This is it. This has got to be the nail in the coffin. This is the last break in the morale. Everything just going worse for wear for the side of the Nighthawks. It's just Nova falling apart at the seams, and once again, Hemorrhage watching his team fall at an objective as he has to run away. This man just, Maddie, the boy wonder, getting that steal in on the Maokai, making it look too easy. Hasn't died yet, by the way. 2-0 and 16 on the Maokai. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, and like we said before Game 1 was happening, at the very beginning in introductions, Maokai is still a contested pick. He is still very strong even after all the nerfs that he's incurred in the jungle. Just the amount of prio that that pick receives and the amount of engage potential that that pick has for a team fight is just absolutely disgusting. Especially when paired with strong prio laners that can help him make the plays early game. He's still a very strong champion to be watching for, and I would not be surprised if he ends up getting banned in combination with the Jargon ban for Game 3. And the engage happening with the Rakan hook.
Oh god, they're melted.
Yep.
It's, oh man. Trying to be unbiased caster here, but it's a little difficult. Because that's going to be the ace. Face is wide open. You already see Akashi in there, wreaking havoc with Ricky. They're going to go ahead and take this Baron empowered wave, marching on down. Second verse, same as the first. 54.2k to 34.1k, 34 kills to 6 this time. Whew, wow. The Saints came marching in hard and took everything they wanted in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, again, deja vu from game number one. It just felt like another complete stomp from the Saints, just finding that good prio play onto the bot side, those good roams from Akashi coming out on the mid lane, sacking waves, making those plays. And now this time they have the Maokai who can make those engages even faster and even harder in the game, looking for those bot dives. And it just became a complete ruffle stomp that we saw in game one all over again. So I'm hoping in game three, we see something a little bit different. A different draft coming in from the Nighthawks, a different potentially side selection. I would like to see them pick blue side as they picked red side in this game. Didn't really get anything out of it in the draft. And so hopefully just having those early prio picks, taking away those prio junglers, is going to help them just reclaim a little bit of the momentum that they've lost in this series. But realistically, the Saints are looking really, really strong in the series so far.
Yeah, they're looking real strong. All right, it's quite crazy just the amount of things they're able to get away with for free almost in that second game there. But that's enough talking for now. We're gonna throw it to a quick break while we get reset and recouped for the potential series-ending game number 3 here today. We'll be right back, guys. See you on the other side of a break. Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. We're in the waiting room for game number 3 in this best-of-5 series between the St. Clair Saints and the Nova Nighthawks. And game number 2 was a bit more of a stomp. The St. Clair Saints are sainting all over the wrist, treating this like it's the Crusades, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in game 1 just a complete stomp on the side of the Saints, and then in game 2, it was deja vu. We saw it, the exact same thing almost happening again with the roams from the mid laner coming into the bot lane, finding those leads, prio jungler, getting vision, getting those objectives, finding good fights. I mean, it truly just kind of looked, and I bet it kind of felt unplayable for the Nighthawks. There just really wasn't a ton that they could do once they fell behind like that. And so in game 3, as we're hopefully about to get into draft for game 3 and watch that unfold, what I want to see out of them is early prio aggressive picks, and they have selected blue side. And so here we go into the draft, taking out the Aurelia, taking out the Jarvan, and the Saints taking out Ezreal. Big fan of all of those bans. Very, very effective bans there.
For sure. Now I just need to see them lock out some more jungle picks. Do not let Maddie be having all this agency across the map. You know, throw out that Maokai ban. Please throw out the Maokai ban. They already took out the Jarvan, so that's a good look so far. But Nighthawks, this blue side switch, already looking better for them.
Yeah, I'm already liking these bans so much more. Just trying to take away their agency from the Saints so that they can now look to maybe be on the front foot for this game and try to be looking for those plays rather than responding to the plays that are being sent to them from the Saints. And so third ban here, I'm hoping, like you said, for another jungler, take away Maddie's agency, take away his ability to just carry like the game like the last 2 that he's done, and maybe just look for a strong bot 2v2. Yes! And there goes the Maokai. So 2 bans coming out from the Nighthawks targeting the jungle.
Yep, listening indeed, and I am a very big fan of that. Take away Maddie and Akashi's agency and watch them play completely differently, as we do see the first pick, insta-lock Thresh here, going to the way of Attack Dog. Love to see him on initiators to see how well this does for him here, as we're looking for the next response.
Yeah, good luck. Be winning that Thresh. Thresh, even after the nerfs, is still a very, very strong champion with a lot of really great ADCs to pair him with and a lot of really good lane matchups. So it looks like they're going to go ahead and take that Zeri again, probably going to be putting that with an enchanter of some sort. Emilio is still open and is incredibly strong with Zeri. So we might see that happening. I would also not be super surprised if we see the Rakan again. Not a bad pickup against a Thresh. Or, as I was about to say, we might see a Lulu lane coming in. Very interesting lane dynamic if they end up locking this in, as the Thresh is able to make engages onto the Zeri, but they really can't touch the Lulu, because if they waste abilities on the Lulu, you're just going to get polymorphed, and they just run free and ready to shield their Zeri as they're about to put out massive DPS. So let's see We're expecting the ADC pick here, along with probably a jungler or a prio mid laner. Let's go ahead and see what they end up taking here with this Thresh. Wouldn't be surprised if they end up taking the Aphelios. Xayah is not a bad pickup here either, just to get some wave clear potential to contest that Zeri. Or we end up seeing a Jinx.
Okay. Yeah, definitely going to try and go back to that. Game number 1, we did see Osu on the Jinx. I personally would like the Aphelios, you're right. This Thresh Aphelios just feels stronger than a Thresh Jinx at the moment. The reset potential is really cool and all, but like, as opposed to when you're contending up against Zeri Lulu, I just don't know. But this is interesting to see. Oh, wow, and Insta-log Jace. That was a quick decision on that one, too. Like, nah, give me the Jace. Hemorrhage wants to rage. He wants to be the him or rage in this game. And putting him on a Jace, I mean, we saw his Jax play was decent. They actually had to ban it, which is the fact that he couldn't get going. He hasn't been unable to get going in the top lane repeatedly throughout the series. Let's see if the Jace is better to look for. Oh, no. Oh, no.
So the Scion pick coming in into the
Jace.
Jace.
I'm talking about the Jax. Oh, God.
Oh, no. Lord have mercy on the Nighthawk's soul. Into that comp, Scion so far is pretty unstoppable until a late game Jinx gets her items. There's nothing a Thresh can do against a Scion ult. If that Jace ends up going top lane with this Scion, then there's absolutely nothing the Jace can do in terms of poke. He's just going to sit back and soak all that farm, all that juicy health stacking. And really, that's kind of the only tank tool that the Saints are going to need in this draft, with a Zeri who can kind of peel herself pretty easily. And so now we expect to see possibly a scaling mid laner and a prio jungler that can gank quickly, just so that we can make sure that mid lane doesn't get too far gone. And Scion, hey, that's going to end up being a farm lane. Not much is going to be happening there. In terms of bans, we see the Gwen ban coming through, just covering just in case that Jace is going mid lane. Still very possible, along with the Victor ban, trying to take away that late game scaling and some AP, which the Nighthawks are currently severely lacking in their draft. And the Nighthawks end up taking out Talia for very similar reasons to the Victor ban, and Orianna to try to stop that Wombo combo from the Scion ultimate. So back into picks here. What are the Saints going to try to pick up to advance this draft further on the red side? I would not be even remotely surprised with even something like some kind of scaling mage mid, like a Veigar, even, well, maybe not after the nerfs. And they end up taking Vi, so exactly what we were thinking about. Big, strong, early gank jungler, trying to pair that with a farming Scion, trying to get that wave prio bot. And so now all they're missing is that mage mid lane, and the Saints kind of have a Giga Exodia draft.
Yeah, the AD Vi, you got to assume, right? As they're just looking for another thing just to literally just brute force their way through. We know the Saints love to play. Well, that's just puzzling. Oh, okay. We know the Saints love to play brute force compositions, and this is definitely another one of those. Is Nova Nighthawks very quickly locking in the Graves here. I'm assuming this is Graves jungle, and I don't know if I pick a Graves after seeing Scion Vi locked in. That's just me here. Let's see what their final pick to round up this composition of theirs will be.
Yeah, the Graves pick. I don't know about that one.
Mordekaiser?
Oh, no.
Okay. That's... Look, the Nighthawks are
I'm
going to
be honest
all out
here.
there, and this is a... hope something sticks, because my goodness.
Yeah, I'm not going to front. The Nighthawks comp is severely lacking in any form of AP damage. Mordekaiser, sure, is going to deal some damage, but most of the time, Mordekaiser nowadays is just used as a drain tank to sit in the middle of the team fight. Yeah. And so the Saints are probably just going to get a Scion that has a force of nature and a ton of MR on them. Oh! Forget what I... need something like a force of nature to get that movement speed to be able to stay in that team fight. And honestly, to be completely honest, he might just be able to forego that and just go straight Sunfire Cape, straight Heartsteel, just turbo health stacking armor, juicy goodness, and sit in the middle of that team fight, not moving, just allowing people to hit him, and then the rest of his team is going to hit the Nighthawks in their face. Realistically, what they're looking for on the side of the Nighthawks to try to just grab a win in this series and keep them in this is just going to be trying to get that Graves strong and get that Graves ahead. We were kind of questioning that Graves pickup. It definitely was interesting, but considering how the Saints draft ended up going, it might not be that terrible in the early game, with Twisted Fate really not doing that much damage, and those grit stacks are going to be very effective in warding off that Vi. But then, if he's not really ahead by like that second, third dragon, that Vi is going to roll him over. So we'll just have to see how this early game goes once again.
Yeah, just absolutely such a weird position for the Nighthawks to be in, right? Putting themselves backs against the wall. You do or die time. You have to win this game to stay in the series, and this is a composition they decide to stick with. Let's see if all the guns in the barrel will do them justice, or they will fall by the wayside. We're going to take another little break, but when we come back, we'll be here for game number 3 in this series between the Saints and the Nighthawks. Stay tuned. Ooh-wee, okay. Right into game here. We're into game number 3. Potentially the final game of this series between St. Clair Saints and the Nova Nighthawks. The Nighthawks on blue side this time with a rather ambitious composition. St. Clair rocking with, once again, all muscle, all show, all night long. Owl, you ready to get into this, my man? Because
I'm more than ready to get into this. Yeah, I mean, just looking at the team comps.
2 minutes in, rather.
Right. Looking at what's happening here is just, oh man, the comps are really, really ambitious, as you said. But on the side of the Nova Nighthawks, what they have is what I would suppose to be an objective control comp, just like trying to get those early dragons on item spikes and level spikes. And already we see Engage coming in bot lane.
Oh, Attack Dog was so nice. Attack Dog, that was such a nice little fake, but okay. This time, however, we have the Nighthawks going up early with some kills, as opposed to what we've been accustomed to this series. The Saints get involved.
Yeah, I mean, finally, we see the Graves getting onto the map and actually, like, making something happen in the bot lane. Of course, now we see the Vi hovering in a flash card from the TF. Flash
he's dead, he's dead.
Jace, and it just
wait, Fern lives? No way. Fern actually lives.
Yeah, that's the power of refillable potions.
As we do see Attack Dog looking for the attack, misses the flame, misses the hook. Sorry, go back to bot lane. That was not the most pretty thing. But good job staving off the aggression in mid lane. As the side of Nova, they want to try and establish their footing and get this lead and actually hold on to it for a while.
Right, and even just
wait, hold on. I just realized we didn't talk about this in draft at all. We talked about the Mordekaiser and the Jace getting locked in. We never talked about where they would be going. It's mid Jace top Mord here. I love that.
True, true. Well, I assumed after... I guess, yeah, we should have mentioned it, shouldn't we have? Once the Mordekaiser is locked in, there's pretty much no chance that's going in against a Twisted Fate or anything mid lane. It makes complete sense, though, that they're taking the Jace here and even just picking it up into Twisted Fate. Once the TF is picked into a Jace, it kind of becomes this weird lane dynamic of the Jace gets to shove out early game, but then the second that Twisted Fate hits 6, it becomes really hard to actually stave off his roams. And of course, bot lane having a little bit of a skirmish here.
Attack Dog,
and of course, Bot's there with the pickup. Maddie in the right place at the right time once again. Basically, all of this series has been filled with him just completely demolishing the jungle in terms of pressure. Another little fight coming in top lane. It looks like the Scion is just going to drop.
Yeah, he wants to give Hemorrhage the assist or the kill. You see how he's walking him in, saying, yo, hey bro, give me the kill. Oh my god, he should have taken it there as he will fall. And that gives Ricky the ability to get away. You've got to be kidding me. Oh my god.
Oh no, that's the problem with ganking a large target as a Graves. The Graves is just going to be hitting those minions over and over and over. And the Scion just going to be able to bonk him over the head a couple of times with Grasp. And that is going to be the pickup 1v2 for Ricky, and the Wave Crash coming in top lane as well. So easy TP back with the Bomby Cinder. And it's going to be pretty smooth sailing for this.
Ooh, very smart Hex Blast
man.
there coming in.
Ooh, okay, Attack Dog landing a very nice hook. He's been pretty good with both these college fresh players, I'm telling you. Okay, let's see if round 2 will be any different this time. It's still a 1v2. Oh no, give it the kill, please. No, not again. No, not again. You can't. You're getting away with this. Don't let it happen. Okay, he's flashing for it. This time, Keatso will finally get the kill.
But the zombie Scion is still right here. Oh, no autos to be found.
Okay, he's living through that. Oh my god.
Oh god, Ricky, you madman. This is illegal, my guy. You can't be doing this. You can't be getting away with this.
Attack Dog, try to get the ignite. One more auto should do it. Oh, but it's not there. And I don't think Osu is 6 yet to hit the ultimate rocket. And Boss will live through that. Oh, I was talking about how Nova needed to hold on to that lead and prevent it from running away, but just so quickly as we talk about it, the Saints grab it up and hold it, keep it in their hands.
Oh god, I mean, a lot just happened in the last 2.5 minutes or so. We saw a really good gank topside that ended up in tragedy. We saw a mid lane gank on the side of the Nova Nighthawks that ended up working out with the Grades picking up that kill. And then, of course, we back to top lane, another 1v2 pickup for Ricky, except that time he falls. And then finally, a good engaged bot lane ends up with another winning fight for the Saints. This is a very, very aggressive game on both sides. This is an absolute bloodbath so far. And of course, panning back to the top lane, we see exactly what we were talking about, or I guess what we should have been anticipating for most of this game so far, where the Scion just lets the wave crash into him, pick up those health stacks, just kind of safe-side it. Of course, that has not happened in the slightest, but now we're kind of going back to mellow, going back to base state. We see a more simple waves shoving, waves pushing back, standard wave management until these objectives start coming up. Of course, the dragon is now up at this point in time. So we're going to be seeing all the team members from both sides, especially the supports, walking in, trying to get that vision prio, trying to look for a good pick. And although the Saints are ahead, it's pretty even right now. Only a gold deficit of about 600 gold. Probably just about one component from the Saints. So very fightable on this dragon.
Let's see what Nova can get done to get themselves back in. Because, I mean, I've really been loving Attack Dog, even though they haven't all been completely successful. His map presence has been crucial in keeping them in this, good laser dodge out. Showing that he has a lot of prowess on the champion. Let's see if how it can pay off as, once again, the roams and the fighting are on top side, it looks like. Yeah, the ping's looking like they're going to go towards his Herald. 3v2 as Hemorrhage is just now leaving the base. I believe they're going to go ahead and give this one up. Not going to have any shenanigans happen here. I doubt that Nova's going to try and make this fight happen around the objective, but hey! I've been wrong before, but no.
The Jinx Rocket coming in to try to steal something. Ends up whiffing, hitting nothing. I think I see it going by my window right about now. Of course, they ended up actually going for the Herald there, like you said. Probably off of a very smart vision play. Getting that ward on the entrance to the topside jungle in the blue side. And hold that thought.
Okay. He burned Ghost, so he will be able to,
not able to execute Ricky. Yeah. Right, but being able to spot out that Grades and... Oh, Lord.
Well,
another engage,
right, that's
another
one way to
chance
get
for
a kill.
absolutely no breathing room. That is definitely one way to get a kill. And, and Ricky finds another kill with the Vi.
Rock Boom's taking it personally.
There's just everything is happening on the map. There's fights left and right and left and right, and everything is happening. Another engage happening topside.
Yeah, Hemorrhage.
We see the flash out from the Mordekaiser.
Did he use his ult, Mord ult? No, I don't believe he did. Gets the Q and will get one before he falls. Okay. So
what is happening right now?
It's game 3, Owl. That's what's happening.
Game 3, baby.
The madness is everywhere.
I mean, the Saints have found a lead, but at least now the Nighthawks are like willing to fight. Clearly this game, they're willing to fist fight. They're willing to throw hands, and we love to see that. Very exciting game coming out, but the most interesting thing here is that Ricky, the Scion, the one that was meant to be safe-siding top lane, just meant to stack and become that gank Oh man, that just tank in the late game has ended up being a complete monster. He's the one actually probably going to end up carrying these fights pretty soon. Finally, we see Dragon pickup going the side of the Nighthawks onto the Graves. Smart pickup there, knowing that the Vi is probably top side. Really, this has kind of just become the status quo probably for the most of this game now. It's just going to be looking for those wave shoves on both sides, as well as looking just for something to happen on the map and just see who can team fight it better. Another notable thing happening here is the Mordekaiser has actually lane swapped with the Jace.
Yeah. I see that now, interestingly enough. I'm trying to see if this is going to be the right move. TF Ultimate is here. Destiny has been called down and will be thrust upon them. And let's see if they can turn this 3v3 in their favor. It's looking that way as the Attack Dog split off from the rest of his pack will be packed up and put down. Kashi with the wonderful roam timing, making things happen. It's Maddie now on the Vi. They're looking for Osu. Oh no. Not too long for this world is. Woo! Keto diving under tower will fall. Maddie claiming that kill, and it's all Jinx alone by themselves. Eats a gold card, eats a laser. Rock Boom claiming the credit. And just like that.
Ricky making a smart, or rather, sorry about that, the hemorrhage coming out here on the Mordekaiser and just looking for a kind of smart play, looking for absolutely anything to happen topside. Ended up picking Ricky, but then they get 2 on the bot lane with really smart target prio, knowing that if they don't go for that Graves, he's going to get out. Rather, the Jinx is going to be stuck under turret. They don't have to hit her yet. And of course, Thresh coming in for the top lane. Now they're trying to bully Ricky and say, no, don't run away from this game yet. Thresh comes in with the hook. And Ricky, so tanky, not able to go down here.
Oh man, they're going for him. Yeah, he's dead here. Gotta be kidding me. He keeps getting these kills, these trades. They're not clean. The dives are not efficient enough to get the clean kills and get out on the side of Nova. They keep trading in this, and this Scion is so huge now. 12 minutes in, 5-3-0. He has the same amount of kills to ADC, and I swear he's not doing near as much fighting.
It's incredible. It just kind of seems like he has his arms lovingly open for anybody that's willing to just kill themselves to him. It's really interesting to be watching this, and now finally we're seeing even more lane swaps coming out, knowing that Zeri has this wave prio to try to clear against this top laner who really can't do anything about this. Get some platings on the top lane, get that Zeri even more fed. This beckons call to game 1, where the Aphelios was able to get a bunch of kills bot side. Before plates fell, they swapped them top, got even more plates, more gold on that ADC, and now I'm curiously thinking, is this Zeri going to be able to carry as hard as the Aphelios? A little bit of a scuffle happening topside. Oh, the flash in from Rock Boom.
He wants it. Oh, Rock Boom dodging out from attack. Gets the flay into the box. We'll get some more damage now, but not enough to kill. The ultimate from Keto, not enough either. They're chasing him straight under tower. They do not care, and they will get themselves 3 quick kills. Rock Boom bringing the noise. 7-1-3 on this Zeri. Oh my god.
Hear his name. He's been playing exceptionally well this entire series so far, but now on this game 3, I believe he's gotten almost as many kills as he did in the Aphelios game, entirely in 14 minutes just about. Another big lead mounting for the Saints in rather not the very calculated, find vision, find picks, take good fights kind of way. They're just throwing fisticuffs. And it seems like their team fighting ability is just able to prevail here, and finding most of these kills and most of this lead has just come from their superior team fighting and an ability to actually pilot the champions that they've chosen. My god.
Now observers switching over to that gold graph, seeing the difference in where that lead is really coming from. That's an AD diff right there. Rock Boom, absolutely insane, man.
And not only is it an 80 diff, we're also seeing the mid laner up about 1,200 gold. Akashi on these roams is just able to make things happen on the Twisted Fate. He's just able to find these bot lane leads, and it's just the exact same thing every game so far this series. And yet another ultimate from the TF coming out looking for a top lane scuffle.
Oh yeah, they're dead. Attack Dog is the one to be singled out immediately, as you do see Akashi in the ult of Hemorrhage. Once it's over, it spells lights out for the big Mordekaiser. Good. Should get him away. Let's see how long he can survive for. Not going to be too long. Is Rocket Boom. Rock Zoom is more like it because the man is flying around this map.
I mean, the man is just picking up kill after kill after kill after kill. It's just a constant fist fight this game. Really, really fun to watch, but probably not very fun to play from the Nighthawks. They really aren't able to do much at this point. They're just having to wait for this Jinx to scale, and maybe if they can get another item or two onto this Jace, maybe he can play the poke game and poke and prod at the Zeri and the Twisted Fate before Big Engage comes in. But truthfully, is that even going to be able to happen? Are they going to be able to get to that point in the game without the Saints just straight up ending this series right here, right now? Another consolation prize, an attempt to have a flash hook from Attack Dog. Nothing really happens. They grab the Dragon and the Nighthawks, and really, it just feels like another consolation prize. Thanks for coming to the party, but unfortunately, your entire team is just going down and down and down in gold deficit here.
It's just such a bleak picture painted for Nova. As you know, they had a really decent showing early on in the beginning of this match, and just with blundered play after blundered play, you just see it falling farther and farther away from them as Attack Dog trying to make something happen as Maddie's diving really deep, but it doesn't matter because Rock Boom is so fed now, he can just solo the team by himself. I thought this wasn't a 1v5 game anymore, but Rock Boom definitely proving me wrong there, as Akashi will land a gold card on the Hemorrhage and will survive, gets 3 in the claw, but nothing more. Rock Boom legendary guarded by his team from that rocket that might have actually gotten a massive shutdown in the pocket of Osu, but unfortunately not the cases. You see the Saints looking to close this one out. 17-minute mark here. Maybe they'll make another 20-minute buzzer here.
I mean, this game just feels so illegal. The Nighthawks able to find some things in the early game, able to find some advantage, and then immediately Maddie just being able to be at the right place at the right time, showing up for these counter ganks, showing up for these Graves rotations, and really, he's just able to find these really good fights for Rock Boom in combination with the Akashi on the Twisted Fate, being able to roam down and get the Zeri this lead. We are talking about a 2.5 item at 18 minutes, 11 and 1 Zeri with a Lulu getting hooked by the Thresh, and Mordekaiser ulted.
Still living, still do all of that. Maybe not longer. Rock Boom looking to fall. Finally, he'll go down, and the fight goes to Hemorrhage, and 5 turn flashing forward. Rocket's bad gate, give it a double to the big metal man. Here comes Ricky, diving in with the sign ultimate to no avail as another shutdown. All the gold that has been collected and accrued in the pockets of the Saints is falling to the wayside and filling the coffers of the Nighthawks as they will strike back fierce, managing to pick up 2 key shutdowns. 3 kills overall. Let's see what else they can get off of it, as there's no objectives really on the map except for the towers.
Right, they're just going to be pushing this tower, and honestly, big props to Attack Dog there, finding what he needed to do to keep them in this game, which was wait for that Zeri to get out of position and try to get them to commit to it. Jace diving into the turret, trying to pick some up.
Ricky!
Finds the Twisted Fate.
Ricky! Oh my god. Holding off 4 members of this team by himself. Can Osu survive? Okay, Osu will finally get something. Not falling just yet. Hemorrhage double buff up. Can he live? Can he live? The answer is no. Rock Boom revived and revitalized and getting their revenge. Rampaging all over the map.
My god, Rock Boom.
For 2 minutes out.
I mean, seriously, they just... I honestly don't, I'm not even sure exactly what to say in this position. Rock Boom is just so fed that any play that the Nighthawks try to take where the Zeri isn't hooked or Mordekaiser ulted or in some way taken out of the fight is going to instantly lose. They have so many peel potential abilities for the Zeri to keep them alive. They have that TF gold card. They have Devi engage with Q and ultimate. They have a Lulu with ultimate and shield. They have a Scion who is so ridiculously fed somehow that he's able to face tank the entire enemy team. And finally, Box getting a little picked up there from the good Thresh hook once again from Attack Dog. Maddie getting ulted to the Mordekaiser.
Oh, he's dead. Okay, that's something. This Mord is getting huge, but what can be done about it? Destiny has been called. Now you see the Hawks on the retreat, but no, he's shut down. I'm third with a great shock last night. What, can they keep going after this? The carry is felled. Can they keep pushing more? There's so much upfront damage out. Ricky is huge. He can potentially turn this if he gets into the 4 of them. Oh my god, he's living for a long time. Osu actually has to flash out. Scramble Mess doing his job, keeping them away. Fern has to run from Zombie Scion. He's got into the middle of 4. Managing to take their health bars rather low, so they can't even do Baron here. Once again,
exactly, no Baron.
Picked up.
Yeah, there's 0 Baron to be taken here. Oh god, I mean, now we're starting to see a little bit of a shift in the paradigm. Like I was saying, the only chance that they had to keep in this is Jace finding a few more items and being able to poke and prod at the Saints team comp. Because really, if that Scion isn't there to face tank and shield them or their team of all of these Jace poke abilities, they're going to get pretty low pretty quickly. And then a good Thresh Hook will guarantee a winning fight if it lands on the carry. And so there we see Rockboom just trying to find a way to reclaim that team fight, and just oversteps the tiniest bit, and it looks like they aren't going to be there in time to grab this Baron, being taken away from the Saints. And for the first time this series, we have the Nighthawks securing a Baron and finding their way back into this game, ready to fight for their life in this series, going down 2-0.
Yeah, I'm a little worried though, because you did say the longer this game goes on, the bigger Ricky's going to get on this Scion up against this majority AD team. He now is building towards that Thornmail, that very, very key item to go up against Osu and Kitori, as they will trade Dragon for Baron, does the Nighthawks. They are still 5k gold down, but they short up a 10k gold lead and shortened it to 5k in the matter of minutes. That's impressive here. We talked about it's do or die here for them in this game number 3, and right now they are doing the thing. They have to get a considerable amount more, but man, I'm just surprised they even got this far.
Right, I mean, just being able to kind of keep your head clean, it seems, and stay inside of this series and not just getting so tilted after getting this series so fed and being like, well, let's hang up our hats. We're going to get 3-0'd. That's the end of that. Let's go home. No, they kept in this series, Attack Dog finding great hooks. And now we see another little scuffle in the mid lane, except this time the Nighthawks have Baron to work with.
Oh no, he's flashing at Hemorrhage, actually flashing under the tower. Bro, you're so brave for that one. He's gonna fall. Rockwood gets the kill. Here comes Zeri, but no! Once again, I'm Fern. The flash over the side snipes him out. But the rest of the team is there for the Saints, routing everybody. And even though Fern got that one kill, he had to get out as the rest of his team's falling all around him. 3 for 4 at the end of the day. Man, this is an absolute bloodbath here.
Exactly. We are averaging over 2 kills a minute right now in a best of 5 match point 2-0 game. This is really fascinating to watch, because it seems like they're trading back and forth. For a second, Nighthawks were able to climb back 5,000 gold, like you said, after going down 10,000, being able to find those good picks on Rockboom off the Thresh Hooks, coming back into the game, grabbing the Baron, and then overextending just the tiniest bit too far, and then being able to pick up a decent fight. And yet, the second the Zeri dies, it turns out that potentially the Saints are able to team fight without them. Able to find another really good fight. Everybody going down except for the Jace. I'm Fern staying alive, keeping that shutdown on him, but with his entire team crumbling around him.
Yeah, this is so crazy. I thought the game was already done about 7 minutes ago, but here are the Nighthawks proving me wrong. And like, there's angles, right? There's multiple angles in which they can get back into this. Fern keeps getting these snipes on the Rockboom, taking them out of the fight. Very critical here. 8-1-4 on this Jace.
Right, and
it's like you're waiting for Osu to come online. They have the Kraken Slayer. They're building towards their Lord Doms now, you'd have to assume.
Here we go!
Okay, the fight is on. Rockboom trying to go around the side with Akashi. Multiple low health bars are corralled into the bushes. Maddie to go forward. Rockboom on a killing spree. Shut down is Fern. Shut down is Kito. All up to Osu and Hemorrhage. Triple kill for the Zeri. Maybe trying to make it 4. Polymorph is Hemorrhage. Has to hold off as many as he can for as long as he can. Ricky's just so tanky. He's a beefy, beefy boy. That Lumberjack is huge. Keeping his team alive. Finally felling the last bastion of hope for the Nighthawks, as all have fallen. 4 members strong of the Saints. They have a nice wave to push through with. They're looking to
It looks like
right
they're just
here.
going to end the game right here. Take this series out in one foul swoop off of that fight. It beckons back to what we were saying. You have to catch that Zeri out or else they are just going to carry the fight. The hook doesn't land onto them. Neither does the Mordekaiser ult. And that is the series. 3-0 to the St. Clair Saints. And that is going to wrap up the grand finals for today.
Oh my goodness. There was a chance there, Owl. There was a chance there for a redemption, but unfortunately, Rock Boom is just too strong on this champion that is also too strong. So that will be it. 3-0. 3-0 day. Congratulations to St. Clair Saints for getting a massive W here. Just absolute, like, crazy fashion. First 2 games were stomps, yes. This last game was a very, very much a bloodbath, showing us that their ruthless aggression cannot go unchecked or they will run away with all of it. Just, honestly.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I mean, just
impressive.
beautiful games in games 1 and 2. Just that really clean macro play, finding those roams, getting those advantages. And then, of course, the team fighting was equally as immaculate in games 1 and 2. Being able to never lose those leads and never finding a chance to get caught out. The Nighthawks were just playing on the back foot the entire time. There really wasn't anything that they could have done realistically once that lead was so severe. And now, finally, in Game 3, they chose Blue Side. They chose a very ambitious team comp with a lot of what-ifs inside of it. And they go down again, but then they decide that, seemingly, they don't want to go out of this too fast, and they start fist-fighting for their life as fast as they humanly can. And so, finally, eventually, it turns into this big bloodbath game of a Game 3, and just, oh man, so many things happened so quickly. Such a fast-paced, interesting games, averaging well over 2 kills a minute that game in a collegiate championship grand finals match point game.
It was nasty, absolutely nasty. Loved every single dirty, grimy second of it. But once again, congratulations to the St. Clair Saints for getting this victory, for getting that grand final W. It was hard fought, yeah, but man, it was entertaining the entire way through. But that will actually be it for us today here in NJCAAE. I've been the Crow. That's been the Owl. Y'all been rocking with us for the past few hours, and we really appreciate it. Hit us up on all the socials. You know where to find us. Follow us. Interact with us. It's been a big pleasure being here. But y'all have a very wonderful rest of your evening and enjoy the holiday weekend as well. Till next time. Peace out.